Hi students, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to see another polity question from UPSC prelims, and we'll see how to solve these questions. I've always told you my methodology to solve polity questions is the first source would be the Constitution of India. So the question that I have chosen today is asked in UPSC 2021. The question is, we adopted parliamentary democracy based on British model, but how does our model different from that model? So the question that they are asking is, our constitution makers have adopted the scheme of government under constitution from the British. However, we have made modifications to suit our needs. And how is our model is different from the model of the British government? So that is the question, and we'll see the options and we'll choose the right answer. As regards legislation, so clearly this is about legislation. Legislation means law making. The British Parliament is supreme or sovereign. The British Parliament is supreme or sovereign, but in India, the power of the Parliament to legislate is limited. So here there are two components. One is the component of legislative power of the British Parliament, and the other is the component of the legislative power of the Indian Parliament. Now I have always told you, remember, the first source should be the Constitution. So with regard to Indian component, the power of the Parliament to legislate is limited. So from where does this statement comes from? Obviously, if you look at the very idea of constitution itself is that no legislative organ should have an unlimited power. So that is the idea of constitutionalism. Otherwise, it will lead in anarchy. But if you want me to specify how the parliament has limited, how the constitution has limited the power of our parliament, there are various articles. But one article which I would want you to be specific is Article 13(2). Clearly, it says that the state shall not make any law which takes away or abridges the rights conferred by this part, that is fundamental rights, and any law made in contravention of this clause shall, to the extent of the contravention, be void. So that is a very clear indication that the power of the parliament to legislate is limited. Article 13(2) limits the legislative power of the parliament in a such a way that parliament cannot enact any law which would take away the fundamental rights, and if it makes such a law, that will be void, and the power of judicial review will be available. So clearly this statement is from Article 13, and this is definitely right. With regard to the British Parliament, we all know British Parliament is a common law jurisdiction. There has been n number of judgments made by the Supreme Courts, and they do not have a particular set of written constitution. They do form parliamentary sovereignty and supremacy, and since they do not have a written constitution, the idea of parliamentary sovereignty is available in Britain. The major difference here is that in Britain there is a unwritten constitution. In India we have a written constitution. Constitution means limiting the power of the government, so any legislative organ. So the option 1 is right. Next is option 2. In India, matters related to the constitutionality of the amendment of an act of the parliament are referred to the constitution bench by the Supreme Court. We all know the Supreme Court is the interpreter of the constitution, so this option is also right. So the right answer is option C, both 1 and 2. So that is the right answer for this, option C, both 1 and 2. Now one of my students asked me a doubt saying that whether parliament is sovereign in India or not. If there is a limit of parliament to legislate, then does that mean that parliament is not sovereign? Friends, do not confuse sovereignty, the principle of sovereignty, with the principle of absolute or supreme power making. Both are different concept. Sovereignty is something is derived out of an international law, where a particular state or a particular organ is sovereign. They do not be subservient to any other state or anything. Like the parliament is sovereign, it owns, and no other organ can control the parliament. So do not confuse the sovereignty with the absolute power making of any legislative body. So both the options are right, and the answer is C, both 1 and 2. Thanks for watching this video. Do like this video and share it among your friends whom you feel it will be helpful, and subscribe to my channel. And in case if you have any doubts, or if you want me to explain any particular question, do comment to this video. I will be happy to post an explanation with that. Thank you.